Alright, hello and welcome to this video where we are going to talk about Raid, which has just been announced is coming in the Season 1 update. Brand new map for Call of Duty Cold War, and also adding it to competitive. There is a lot to kind of break down in this. I've been thinking about it for the last few days since I first heard the leak, and now that it's been confirmed by Treyarch. So we have had DLC in competitive Call of Duty before. Very important thing, I think, to enlarge the map pool as time goes on. In fact, one of the main complaints about this game from the competitive community has been the maps. Some people don't like them, some people know there's not enough. This game only launched realistically with 8. Obviously, we want as many as possible to have the best maps as possible, because not every map works for every mode, and they don't always work very well. Now, we have had maps from DLC in competitive before, things like Warhawk and other maps. Sometimes they've had issues, sometimes they haven't. I even remember years ago writing a letter to people at Activision about the inclusion of DLCs into competitive, and this was before it all went free. This is when DLC packs were actually a thing and you had to buy them and purchase them, and the worry was split in the community. Now there's no problem. DLC maps should always be considered for competitive at any time of the year. If they're good maps, they are good maps. The biggest problem we had this year is I am worried about the depth of the pool. And this affects things way more than you actually think about. Because sometimes you add a map in, you take a map out. Usually you can remove a worse map to bring in a better map. I just think we need to have as many maps as possible. Because if one of the biggest arguments there's always been about is, and this goes all the way back to map vetoes, when we were fighting about map vetoes several years ago, was, well, I don't want to see the same map over and over again. I don't want to see Hardpoint, then Dom or S&D, and all on the same over and over again. And that tends to be because those maps happen to be better. Things like Gunrunner featured very heavily in the Modern Warfare season, simply because it was a very good map. Now, if we can continue to get good maps into the game, like Raid, for instance, which has been a fan favourite for a long time, and they don't mess about with it too much, unintended lines of sight or whatever, and the spawn system works, because sometimes these remakes of these infamous and amazing maps don't always work out as well as possible. One of the options, the ones that people weren't happy with, was Crash. They added doors, they added an extra area. It didn't play the same, and that's happened a few times into here. So I'm looking forward to the remake of Raid as a very good map for this. We know the hardpoint rotations for it. Don't know if it'll work on Control. S&D is looking pretty likely, but we have struggled this year in various game modes and games, and people even refusing to scrim on certain maps, I've been told here, even though they are officially at the moment in the competitive map pool. And this goes down to, again, we've already spoken about vetoes, right? Here's how you got to think about it. If there is a map that is less than optimized for competitive play that is in the map pool, teams generally won't like playing on it. And if there is a team that happens to be pretty good at it, they're never going to see it, because it will become a weaker map for those teams, because nobody will be willing to scrim it, and if you don't have the practice on it, you don't feel confident on it, and if you don't feel confident on it, you don't pick it in your map vetoes. So it affects the entire landscape in terms of vetoes and competitive integrity and how far it can actually go, because that's what leads to the scenario of seeing the same maps over and over again, is if they are good maps and teams understand them and they have either great hardpoint rotations, or they work for S&D, or in this case Control, it's easy to hack and defend the control sites, then we will see more of that map, because more teams will be willing to play it. Now, with coaches doing the vetoes this year, obviously it can throw a spanner in the work in that case, because they'll be like, hey, we're really good at this one. Let's take it again. Let's see how well it goes. But I don't know if that will happen. I am worried with the maps we currently have. I know there are a few maps that people currently don't like, that we will be seeing the same old maps over and over again. I want to see Raid in competitive. I already know it's going to be probably better than some of the maps we have. It's got a very classic map design, and I want to see even more. I want to see, as the season goes on, almost every single time we have it, play test the hell out of any map that comes out and try to get it into the competitive map pool and have a really good deep map pool, so that when we do the videos they make sense, that people will enjoy seeing and playing these maps. Because that's another aspect that we don't even talk about, is not only do the pros, the 60 or so best players in the game, have to play these, but so does the rest of the community. Like, the rest of the competitive community will be following along, playing your GBs, your UMGs, your wages, your scrims, 8s, or whatever you want to play. You want to know what's in the map pool, and you want to figure it out, what can we play. I already know, and I don't want to go too much on about this, but I've already heard a fair few pro players that I speak to regularly slightly worried about the map sets we have at the moment for competitive, and we are still a little way out. And it is very worrying to me to see that trend happening this early on, because obviously with a low map pool, you're going to have the issues I've already spoken about, but that kind of lack of faith in the competitive aspect this year, it's not good. Like, I don't want to see negativity before we even get to the major tournaments, where the hype and the great storylines can override that. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I am looking forward to seeing Raid being played. We haven't actually really seen any kind of thing kind of released for it yet, and I'm hoping that it's going to have what I like to call the shine and polish. They'll change some textures. It might even be a completely different theme. I'm worried about changing key lines of sights, key map flow. I don't want to see anything too crazy in terms of like new avenues or new lanes, because that's happened so many times before. I don't want to see it. We know how the map works. Make it work the same. Obviously, mechanical wise and player model wise and speed wise, the developers probably know better than we do from around the gate, but I feel like that's one really easy trap to get into. Just sprinkle some more random crap over it and hope that it works well. And that's what I don't want to see. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing Raid come into this competitive map set. I hope everybody is too. I've seen a lot of positivity for it on the timeline, and it's almost a guarantee. And I don't see why it couldn't work in almost every single game mode. I'm not sure about control, though. We will have to figure out where those control points go. It's not a game mode we've ever played in this before, but hardpoint, absolutely. It's going to be a new hardpoint, man. We know it's going to go into it at game one, unless something's gone drastically wrong. S&D is a bit of a tricky one. I'd like to see how that works with the snipers right now, and how it kind of flows out for this game, and the bomb sites, if they're in the same place or they're in a different place. Control is no idea where to put it. Statue and somewhere near pool, maybe basketball court could be one of them, but that's a hell of a funnel with only the window and the stairs to come down. It's an interesting map to try and bring back into it, because obviously Raid hasn't really been played competitively for quite a while, even though there have been remakes for it. But I thought I would elaborate on why it's so important for us to embrace DLC as a competitive community, and basically what it can mean moving forward. It is a quality of life update just in terms of usable maps, let's be perfectly clear here. And I've also been told, I don't know how much I should say on this, but I have been told that there is going to be significant spawn changes to come in some of these updates for some of the maps we already have. Whether or not that is just individual map by map spawn changes, or the way that these spawns are worked out, and that is how it is going to change. Could also affect Raid that is coming very, very soon. But this is a video to talk about how positive I am for DLC in competitive CoD. We've had it before, it has worked before. Let's get it in, let's play test it to the nth degree, and let's have a good time. But, alright, there you go. There's my video on this one. I'm not going to stretch it out any longer than I needed to. There isn't much more I can say about it, other than there is a lot coming for competitive in the next few weeks with the Season 1 update and everything that is about to drop in Warzone as well. I'll be keeping you up with videos. I hope you have enjoyed all of this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll let this gameplay play out for the rest of the video. In case you're enjoying it, you're probably not. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Hostile male. Ceasefire! Friendly target! Hostile marksman. Hardpoint identified. Hardpoint locked down. gut. Victory is ours.